gentlelady. Now I recognize Miss Cammack. Miss Cammack, my fellow Florida Gator. I'll recognize her for 5 minutes of questioning.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here today as we examine the many dangers that exist in what some have rightly called the Wild West of the internet. Today's hearing, the World Wide Web, examining harms online, could not be more timely. From exploitation to manipulation, we know that the internet has become a breeding ground for serious threats, especially to those most vulnerable, our kids. I want to begin by personally apologizing to the parents and the guests here in the committee room today for the behavior of some of my colleagues. We are here to focus on kids and the issue at hand, not play liberal catchphrase, talk about food prices, or talk about billionaires. Anything that deviates from that is politically motivated, and it is disgusting. And I am so sorry that you are in this room championing this issue because you have had an experienced tragedy in your family. I am so very sorry. And I hope that my colleagues will apologize. For me personally, I want to focus on the most disturbing and deeply personal harms facing some people online. I don't want to talk about employment status from a former commissioner. I want to talk about the kids that are facing these tragedies. So I'm going to start with you, Ms. Hawkins. Online platforms are fueling the wildfire spread of non-consensual intimate images, including the AI-generated deepfakes, which have been talked about here today. There is zero accountability. Do you believe that Congress should hold these platforms liable, and I'm using the word liable deliberately, when they knowingly allow this kind of harmful content to stay up? And what kind of enforcement tools do we have in our toolbox? Because there is, in fact, more than one. So for the record, would you please describe?
I'll say that if we upload a clip from Disney, a Disney movie, it's removed immediately by big tech. But if sexual abuse is uploaded, the most horrific moments in our lives are uploaded to the internet, it's monetized, and it garners thousands of views and downloads and shares. There's so much that we can do, but as long as tech has no incentive to listen to survivors, to remove this material, we will see no change. The Take It Down Act would do that significantly, but so too would sunsetting CDA 230. This committee almost called for that last year. The problem right now is tech is not coming to the table. We must have them at the table to negotiate and figure out the right solution.
I agree with you, and I'm disappointed to hear that all of a sudden one side is against big tech when all along this has been a bipartisan issue. We have seen conservatives censored online. We have seen progressive voices censored online. There has been a collective call for reform with the big tech companies, and this is another example where we can come together in a bipartisan way, in this case, to protect our kids, especially online. And beyond the FTC, because there seems to be a lot of focus on former Commissioner Slaughter's employment status, can you talk about the FTC, but also the partners in order to enforce how we go about holding the companies accountable, taking the content down? How do we help give our survivors and the victims resources?
I'm not an expert on the FTC, but from what I understand, and I've seen, is we don't have the laws on the books right now for us to protect children online. It's not strong enough. Congress must act. Right now, we need, there's so much to say to that. One thing I want to transition and explain too is the app stores. Right now, that's the gateway. Almost all of our youth, the content that they're consuming is through the app stores. We can see such significant progress if we just make them accountable and provide parental opportunities.
Absolutely, and I think there is a coalition of apps that are working on this and other issues in the periphery, which will be very beneficial. I want to jump to the state laws that are currently on the books, and we know that as every state continues to add the laws, it becomes this patchwork deal where Congress will be forced to act, and we do need to act, and I agree with the chairman that yes, we will take action, and we are willing to go it alone if need be, because this is the right thing to do for parents, for families, and for kids. But almost every state currently has laws on the books today that protect people from non-consensual imagery. But 20 states are now only covering deepfake specifically. Now, given that, talk about at what point is the tipping point for Congress to step in?
The reality is that those laws largely only focus on the initial creation and upload of the material. And what we know is immediately once this material is uploaded, again, thousands of views, maybe within hours, countless downloads. And it's quite inefficient. Congress brings efficiency here, and we need more, energy, and we need a solution that holds the tech companies that forces them to listen to us when this is happening to us.
Well, and I know my time has expired, so I will yield, but I also say thank you for being here in the face of threats to stand up for kids and for families. Thank you.
Thank you. We all